Hello. Hi, it's Jennifer Melreit here, and welcome to the AHA podcast. I'm here with Mike Yasi, and there has been a bunch of noise in the last 24 hours and in the news about Part D plans going away. That's what the headlines are saying. We know that's not true. I brought Mike Yasi here because he's very knowledgeable about this, and I want him to explain it to you. And he's also put together a really great graphic that we'll throw up as well. So, Mike, is our
Yes.
Part D going away?
So I saw on the national news last night a big headline story about the impact of some government decisions around Part D. And I thought today, as you're witnessing, that there would be quite a bit of noise, not only among consumers, but also in the Medicare broker world about this issue. And I am seeing, I know our company's received quite a few calls, and I know online I'm seeing quite a few folks disasterizing, if you will. But I think it's great that we're doing this podcast to kind of grant some clarity to the whole situation.
Yes. Yeah.
What I was
So
going
what
to say
is
is,
going away? Like
yeah,
this, we knew about this, right?
yeah, that's right. This was a planned ending of a temporary subsidy that the government was granting the carriers for Part D plans. And to fully understand it, you kind of have to go back in history a few years back in 2022, August of 2022, when the government signed the Inflation Reduction Act. And in that Inflation Reduction Act, it created several things around drug plans that impacted seniors. It provided, for example, limits on the maximum out-of-pocket that a senior could pay on a drug plan. It allowed the government, Medicare in particular, to negotiate on certain drugs. It shifted more of the financial responsibility for drug costs away from the government and more towards carriers and the manufacturers. And so it created those maximum out-of-pockets that were to be enacted in 2025, and they were. They created a $2,000 maximum out-of-pocket. That was raised in 2026 to $2,100. And it might be news to some folks out there that it's going to go up to $2,400 as a maximum out of pocket for Part D in 2027. We all that have been in this business for so many years remember the famous donut hole. That was also eliminated in the Inflation Reduction Act. It also created a cool little practice for a lot of people in that it created what we call the 3Ps, prescription payment plans. And what that does is it allows a senior to go to the drugstore and actually spread out their drug costs over every month. And so that helped them in that regard. That was part of the plan there. It provided some insulin protection of a $35 maximum and a couple of other things. But what's not going away is the Part D plan. It is still alive and well and living. A lot of folks are worried that this announcement was removing what is called extra help or the low income subsidy, and that is not going away. That's going to stay intact as well. And again, the out-of-pocket maximums will stay intact as well. The temporary support program, once the government saw the Medicare plans being filed for next year, which are due right now, the government saw those plans and said, all right, these insurance carriers have done a good job of integrating those changes from the Inflation Reduction Act, and they don't need our help anymore. And so we're just going to let it expire like it already was planned to be.
It was already planned, right? The carriers knew about this, right?
Correct. They sure did. It was announced publicly. This isn't a secret. It's just the way that I think it was delivered on the news last night. And as a government announcement, it kind of hit hard at a point where people were saying, wait a minute, the sky is falling. And it really was planning to be removed all along.
Yeah. I heard that, that a lot of our agents were getting calls from their members concerned that they were losing their Part D plan. So I think it's really, important for agents to understand this. And I'm so glad, Mike, that you brought it, went into detail because their plans aren't going away. It's just this internal subsidy. They're not even going to notice this, right?
That's right. And Medicare in general is very, very confusing. We all know that. And when these little changes occur, and there's a lot of them, it makes the whole situation even more confusing. I would recommend to Medicare beneficiaries out there that if they need help and they want to do a no obligation plan review, if they don't have a local licensed community-based agent, we can help them find one. They can call our home office at 1-800-709-5513. We can either help them over the phone or direct them to one of our partners locally that can do a no obligation plan review. They can see that they're on the right drug plans. They can make sure that their MAPD, Medicare Advantage prescription drug plans are the right fit, and anything else they might need when it comes to 2027 information. We're here to help do that. And I think if they give us a call, we can help them do that.
I love that, Mike. I'm so glad that you added there about, getting in touch with a local agent. When I'm out there and people ask me what I do and I tell them, I always give the advice, like, do not call like someone from a TV commercial. If you need help with Medicare, find your local licensed agent in your community. They're going to have access to all the different plans. They're going to understand the networks. It's probably somebody, you can get a referral and I can help you. I try to always tell them go local.
And I agree with that. And I know in our company, we're big believers in that, but I think it's also support before, during, and after the sale, even after the enrollment or after the agent even tells you don't need to make any changes at all. You're good right where you're at. We are available to help consumers year round.
So at the end of the day, Mike, Part D is still around. This is the subsidy ending. The headlines are kind of like clickbait. They're just trying to get people scared. And
that's right.
It wasn't really articulating it exactly. You guys as agents out there understand the way it works. And we just thought it would be good to clarify, right?
Yeah. And I think, it's good to know that the base premium for a Part D plan is now $41.33. That's up 6% from 2026. That's what the 2027 rate is. But it does remain to be seen how these changes will impact the consumer with the plan they're on and their drug costs. And that's why I would encourage them to reach out. And if we can guide them through this maze, we're happy to try to decipher it for them.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Mike. Appreciate
My pleasure,
it.
Yeah. Good to see you.
And that wraps up this little edition of the AHA podcast. Come back and tune in again.
Bye.